Wow, you guys have really sent us down a rabbit hole this time, huh?
Yeah, this was a doozy.
A deep dive into like the hardcore technical guts of a totally new business platform, a technical architecture document, 97 pages, every little nut and bolt spelled out.
That's right. And, it might sound like a bit of a yawn fest, but I got to say, there are some serious aha moments in here.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Things that could, like, totally change how we think about, like, how we even approach building businesses.
Yeah, totally.
So we're talking about EON Reality's, technical architecture document for their AI-powered entrepreneur guide.
Right.
And this is not just some fluffy marketing thing, right? This is like a serious blueprint.
Yeah.
It's almost 100 pages long, detailing exactly how their platform aims to guide would-be entrepreneurs, through this 8-step journey from that first little spark of an idea all the way to actually launching a real live business.
Right.
And I think the level of detail in this document really speaks to the scale of their ambition here,
Oh, yeah, totally. The depth of it is, it's kind of mind-blowing. And so I think that's what we want to get at in this deep dive.
Absolutely.
To really like pull out the most important and honestly the most interesting pieces of this whole architecture for you.
Yeah.
So we can all wrap our heads around how exactly they're using technology to offer this level of support for entrepreneurs.
Right.
Right. It's crazy. And I think the 8 steps that they've laid out are going to be like our roadmap for today.
Absolutely. Let's start with the big picture.
Okay.
Because the overall vision here, it really kind of sets the tone for everything else.
Yeah.
Dan Lajoskar, he's the founder of EON Reality. He talks about, building a comprehensive ecosystem and democratizing entrepreneurial education and support through technology.
Right.
When you look at this incredibly detailed architecture, I mean, what's the immediate impact of that statement for you?
Well, for me, it's the sheer audacity of the goal.
Yeah.
Like democratizing entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
It's huge.
And to see them actually laying out like the technical foundation for that, like almost 100 pages, it suggests that they're serious about making this kind of guidance accessible to anyone, anywhere, regardless of their background, where they are, where they come from.
Yeah.
It's a really bold vision. And this document feels like the technical muscle, backing it up.
Absolutely.
Serious.
And I think the way they've structured the architecture itself reflects this this purpose-driven approach. This isn't just a random collection of features, right?
Yeah.
It's designed with this modular structure that mirrors each stage of that entrepreneurial journey. What's really insightful here is how carefully they've aligned the technology with the natural steps of actually building a business.
Okay, so let's break down this whole modularity thing a little bit more, because they mention a few key features in the document. Progressive information disclosure,
right?
Data continuity across the steps,
and what they call contextual intelligence.
Wow.
What does all that actually mean for like a regular person who's trying to use this guide to get a business going?
Well, so think of it this way. Progressive disclosure means that the platform reveals information to you gradually.
Okay.
Only when you need it at each specific step.
Right.
So the main benefit for you is you're not going to be overwhelmed with information at the start.
Right.
Which, let's face it, it can be a huge roadblock for new entrepreneurs.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, data continuity is super important because the information you give in one step, it isn't lost, right? It actually seamlessly flows into the next stage, so it creates a really cohesive experience.
Yeah.
And the contextual intelligence, now that's powered by the AI.
Okay.
And that means that the guidance and the support you receive, it adapts to your specific input.
Interesting.
And your progress. So it's a much more personalized, relevant experience for you.
So it's like having a mentor who knows exactly where you are and what you need at that moment.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then they also highlight, this tab-based navigation system in this interactive workspace.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's all about like making it actually easy and efficient to use.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's one thing to have all this in a document, but actually putting it into practice is a whole other thing.
So the tab-based navigation, it gives you a clear structure. So you can easily move between different stages.
Yeah.
And the interactive workspace, that's where the magic happens, right?
Right.
That's where you're brainstorming, you're analyzing data, you're actually drafting your plans.
Right.
And they've designed this whole thing to make that process as streamlined and user-friendly as possible.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of in one central spot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that really seems to set this platform apart
Oh, yeah.
is the deep integration of AI, right?
Absolutely.
They talk about connecting with OpenAI.
And having a prompt engineering system, which suggests that AI isn't just like a little bonus feature.
Yeah.
It's baked into how this whole thing operates.
It is really a core component.
Yeah.
Acting as both a guide and like a powerful tool
Right.
throughout the entire journey.
Mm-hmm.
So by plugging into OpenAI, they're tapping into some of the most advanced AI models out there.
Right.
And the prompt engineering system is basically how they're directing that AI power to generate really targeted and helpful content.
Yeah.
Whether that's sparking initial ideas or like refining your business plans.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, wait.
And then they also mention an AI solution generator engine.
Yes.
That draws from this library of over 100 proven solution patterns.
That's right.
I mean, that sounds so powerful.
Yeah, it's really fascinating.
But what kind of advantage does that give to someone who's, just starting out?
So it's this idea of a carefully curated collection of successful business models and strategies, right?
Yeah.
That the AI can actually tap into.
Yeah.
So if you're stuck, trying to come up with a solution to a problem, the AI can actually suggest approaches that have worked in similar situations.
Okay.
So it's not about like giving generic answers.
Right.
It's about providing this solid foundation of tested strategies to get your own creativity going and speed up the whole idea generation process.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it's like having access to this huge, like, filtered library of entrepreneurial wisdom.
Right. Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
So it's like having this advisor who's like seen it all, done it all, and can give you the best advice based on that.
Absolutely.
They also talk about this AI-powered market analysis framework.
Yeah.
So how does the AI help you figure out if your idea actually has legs?
Right. So the AI here is designed to analyze tons of data to help you figure out the potential of a given market. So it looks at things like, is there already demand for solutions like yours out there?
Right.
Can your idea even be built with the technology we have? And it can even like project potential revenue.
Wow.
So this kind of analysis can give you super valuable insights early on.
Right.
So you can make smarter decisions about which ideas to pursue and which ones to maybe, set aside.
So you don't waste your time, basically.
Exactly. You reduce the risk of spending time and money on something that's not going to work.
Okay. So let's actually walk through the 8 steps now to see how all this technology is actually applied.
Yeah, let's do it.
The first step is purpose and passion discovery.
Right.
And it seems like the AI even helps you figure out what kind of business you should even be considering in the first place.
That's right. So the AI will look at your interests.
Okay.
It'll dive into a detailed breakdown of over 50 entrepreneurial skills.
Wow.
And it even uses natural language processing to try and align your core values with potential business directions. It's almost like having a high-tech career counselor.
Right.
But specifically for, being an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Okay.
So
then we move on to problem identification.
Yeah.
And here, the AI actually generates problem statements for you, but it doesn't stop there, right?
No, it doesn't.
It backs them up with actual market data.
That's right.
Which is like a huge step beyond just
yeah,
sitting around with a whiteboard brainstorming.
Absolutely. You're not just guessing at problems anymore.
Right.
You're getting insights into their potential impact.
Yeah.
The size of the market. Is that market growing?
Yeah, okay.
And then you can even use filters to refine these AI-generated problems based on what's important to you, like your interests, your resources, that kind of thing.
That's awesome. Step 3 is feasibility and value assessment.
Yes.
We talked about the AI doing market demand analysis, but it also looks at whether your solution is technically feasible.
Right.
And then it even offers you like a library of different revenue models.
More than 15 of them.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's getting really practical here.
Absolutely. It goes beyond just finding a problem. It digs into, can we actually solve this thing?
Right.
And can we make money doing it?
Okay.
And these revenue models, they give you a starting point.
Yeah.
to think about that crucial monetization piece right from the beginning.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Then we move on to solution generation.
Right.
And this is where the AI uses those 100+ solution patterns we talked about.
Yes.
And it also helps you prioritize features using something called Moscow prioritization.
Yeah, so Moscow stands for must have, should have, could have, won't have.
Okay.
It's a framework for prioritizing features for your product or service.
Right.
And the AI actually helps you use this to focus on the most critical elements first.
Got it. So you're not trying to do everything at once.
Exactly.
They also talk about a modular component library. So it's like having
Lego bricks.
Lego bricks, yeah.
Pre-built.
That you can just put together to build your solution.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Okay, awesome.
So
then we have the executive summary generator.
Right.
So it sounds like this takes all the work you've done and helps you create a nice, concise overview of your business idea.
Exactly. So it's got dynamic templates, different style options to fit your audience, even a real-time preview.
So you can see what it looks like as you're building it.
That's right. It makes it so much easier.
That's awesome.
To create a professional and persuasive summary of your idea.
Yeah, that's cool. Step 6 is prototype development guide. And this is where things get really hands-on, right?
They do.
Because it offers things like Replit prompt generation.
Right.
Remind me what Replit is again?
So Replit is an online coding platform.
Okay.
So the platform can actually help you generate prompts for Replit.
Okay.
Which can then help you actually build a basic version.
A prototype of your solution. It also gives you recommendations for the best technologies to use.
Okay.
And even generates little bits of code.
Wow.
Get you started.
That's really helpful.
It is, especially for someone who's maybe not, a coding expert.
Right, yeah.
It gives you that practical guidance and those initial building blocks.
Right, that's cool. Then step 7, we've got monetization and growth strategy.
Yeah, this is the business side of things.
Right.
So we've got a business model selector, pricing calculator, and even a data-driven marketing plan generator.
Wow. So it's like
covering all the bases.
Yeah, going from just having a cool idea to actually building a business out of it.
Exactly. It's thinking long-term, making sure that you can actually sustain this thing.
Yeah.
And the data-driven marketing plan is really interesting. Because it means you're making informed decisions about how to reach your customers.
Yeah, based on real information.
Exactly.
Not just your gut.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Oh, cool.
And then finally, we've got the progress dashboard.
Right.
Which is like keeping you on track, I guess.
Yeah, it's your command center.
Right.
So you can visually track your progress through the 8 steps.
Okay.
And it'll give you recommendations for resources, based on where you are. And it even intelligently compiles your business plan.
Okay, so it's like
pulling everything together.
Yeah, taking all the pieces you've been working on and putting them into a nice, neat document.
Exactly. It saves you a ton of time.
Right. That's really cool. Now, they include these real-world case studies in the document.
They do.
To show how all this is supposed to work in practice.
Yeah.
So can you give us like a really quick rundown of what those are?
Sure. So they've got examples from different industries, right? So you've got like a traditional artisan marketplace trying to connect with global customers. You've got a rural skills marketplace.
Trying to connect training with local job opportunities.
Interesting.
And then you've got a hyper-local job matching platform, connecting people in the same neighborhood for employment.
So they're showing how this platform can be used across all these different sectors.
Exactly.
Okay, that's cool. Now, EON Reality is really known for their work in AR and VR.
They are.
And this platform actually integrates with their EON XR technology.
That's right.
So how does that immersive learning element enhance the entrepreneurial journey?
So this integration allows for what they call immersive experiential learning.
Okay.
So instead of just reading about business concepts, right?
Yeah.
You can actually experience them spatially.
Okay.
In 3 dimensions.
Wow.
Within the EON XR environment.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And I see they have things like single sign-on.
Right. So it's seamless.
And bidirectional content syncing.
Yeah.
So it all works together really smoothly.
Absolutely. And the context transfer feature is really interesting.
What's that?
So that makes sure that your personalized data and progress are actually reflected in the XR experiences.
Got it.
So Sarah Johnson, she highlights in the document that this spatial interaction can lead to deeper understanding and better retention of those, sometimes complex concepts.
Right, right.
So it's really about making that learning more engaging
Yeah.
and more effective.
That's really cool. So it's like taking those abstract ideas and making them tangible and interactive through these virtual experiences.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. The architecture is also designed for extensibility.
Right.
So what does that mean for the future of the platform?
So that means that the core functionality can be expanded upon by developers and partners.
Right.
So they've got APIs, integration frameworks, guidelines for building custom components. And James Williams, he really emphasizes that this allows for specialized capabilities that can be tailored to specific industries or, different approaches to entrepreneurship.
Right, so it can keep growing and adapting.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, we have to talk about security and compliance.
Of course.
Right, for any platform that handles user data.
Right.
That's a top priority.
Absolutely. And they've put a lot of thought into this.
Okay.
They're very clear that security and compliance are not just afterthoughts, but like fundamental principles baked into the design.
Right.
So they talk about end-to-end encryption, robust access control, and adherence to, key data privacy regulations like GDPR and CCPA.
Right. So they're taking it seriously.
Very seriously.
Yeah, which is good to see.
It is.
So to sum up this incredibly detailed document, it really seems like EON Reality's AI-powered entrepreneur guide represents a completely comprehensive and technologically advanced approach to supporting aspiring business owners.
Yeah, this isn't just another software program, right?
Yeah.
It's a whole ecosystem.
Yeah.
Leveraging cutting-edge technologies, AI, immersive experiences. And it has the potential to really make entrepreneurial knowledge and resources much more accessible.
Yeah.
Democratize it.
Right.
And it offers a structured pathway, a guided pathway through every stage of developing a business.
Yeah.
From that initial idea all the way to launch.
Right. And it's amazing to see this level of technology being integrated into something that has traditionally been such a human-driven process.
Right.
So it makes you wonder, what other traditionally human-centered activities might be completely transformed by AI and immersive tech in the near future?
Absolutely. I think this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
It's not just entrepreneurship.
Right.
I think it's learning, professional development, like across the board.
Yeah. It's really exciting and a little bit scary all at the same time.
I think that's a good way to put it.
But definitely something to keep an eye on. Awesome. Well, thanks for walking us through all of that.
My pleasure.
That was a fascinating deep dive.
It was.
Really appreciate your insights.
Happy to be here.
Okay. And for all of you listening, keep those questions coming.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time for another deep dive.
See you then.